Well, folks, hello and welcome back to Relaxing Woodshop. My name's David, of course.
My name's Christopher.
How are you?
Pretty good.
You up to much of the weekend?
Quite well.
Awesome. So, this week, what are we doing this week, Christopher?
We are making a table.
We're making a table. What are we going to make a table out of?
Well, you'll find that out in the ingredients list.
Because you don't know what it is.
The ingredients list would be obsolete if
Oh, of course,
we went through it now.
Oh, yeah, they use that excuse. Well, just before we get into it, I was actually at the Whitehead Christmas Fair yesterday.
Thanks for the invite.
What?
Thanks for the invite.
Well, it's like 5 miles that way. Why didn't you go? So, I came across Spartan Woodcraft. So I'm going to put, there's an email along the bottom, Spartan Woodcraft. So if you're passing by a shop or wanting to look online to see what he does, some of the stuff is beautiful. I know he's in the process of doing a big project with a surfboard made out of wood and using some Total Boat epoxy resin. So definitely check him out on his Facebook page. And again, there's his wee link at the bottom there, so it is. So yeah, so how are we doing with our subscribers, Christopher? You don't know. So we are at 455. So you're 45 before Christmas is probably not going to happen.
It's 2 a day. That's easy. 2 a day.
Well, there's billions of people around the world. They just don't know we. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's do it. Let's see how we get on. Now, this is going to be a wee bit more natural. I want this. If you have one of these, a wee miter saw, we're going to really try and do almost everything with a miter saw and a drill. That is, I'm trying to go to do this. So if someone had, you could use a hand saw, but just for when we're doing the film and that there. So we'll be using that, we'll be using the drill, and I'm trying to make it that it. We're even going to try and put a wee jig for putting dials and all in, using just the boards that we have to use like as a wee jig from themselves. So you'll be able to watch it, go through it. If you have a handsaw, it'll take a bit more time, but you can do it. But if you have one of these, which can start quite cheap now. I mean, that one was £200, but there's ones going for £99 and all now. So anyway, let's get into it and let's go.
So here's the ingredients list. I haven't had any information given to me between takes there, but anyway, let's start. So we have our fence post here for the wee legs that we're going to do. We have our fence boards. That's going to create the outer body. And then this nice ceramic, what would you call it?
Tile?
Tile,
Yeah.
massive tile.
Just a big tile you buy in any local B&Q or other hardware store.
Yep. We're going to use that just for the top of it. So yeah, that's the main ingredients for this week, so let's get cracking.
Some people ask me why we call it the Relaxing Woodshop, because we listen to some jazz, we relax and then get stressed out when things go wrong. So we have our tile, okay? It's a beautiful piece of tile. So what the plan is to wrap this with wood. And again, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible so people can do this at home and have a lovely table in their house. So those boards that Christopher's talking about, they're fence boards. They're about £4 each at a local hardware store, and you need 3 of them. So you're talking £12 there. These here are about £12. You can get, if you go into the shop sometimes, if there's one that's been about, there's a bit of a crack on it, and it's like a showpiece, you can even say, I'll ask it for a wee bit cheaper and you get it, okay? So you're talking roughly about £20 to £25 for all this. And we're talking a table that's going to be in 5 foot long. So what we want to do is we'll put like a frame on each side here, and then pieces of wood going across there. So what we need to do is we need to measure the length of this, which we worked out at 47. Plus then we need to measure out the boards. Bear with me and I'll get the boards. So the boards themselves, all we need to do, as I said, the length of the tile plus 2 thicknesses of these, okay? And the reason being is because you're going to put one beam across this way and one across the bottom there, plus the tile. So you need to work that out. So we'll get those measurements now, and then we'll get cutting. Okay folks, so after Christopher's brilliant maths, we were actually able to make it 2 boards, so we're making it even cheaper again. And the reason being, by going the full length, we were going to go the short length, but by going the full length plus the 2 sides like we did, it actually, the offcut will accept that center piece there, so we will have room within the 2 boards. But what we now need to do is, with our offcut, because it's a good size bigger, we need to slice off a wee 2-inch slab off the end of it, and we're going to use that as a jig, and I'll show you what I mean by the jig, so you're not having to go out and buy some of the more expensive jig software and systems to do dialing. Okay, so what would that wee slice I was talking about, we've cut it out. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to write up on the top, and that means whichever way we go, you'll always pick the top side of your board, so we'll always write up on all of them. So no matter which way you put it in, it's always going to look the same. So up, we'll put the arrow going that way, because I'm very forgetful, and then we'll put a drill hole about here and a drill hole about here. And you have noticed now that this is the first time in about 8 months it's starting to get cold. Okay folks, so now to get the measurements across, it was 11.7 inches, or how much was it in centimeters, Christopher? Can't remember now. 29 point or 29.7, whatever it was. So we've got the measurements off the slate across, and we've cut this, okay? But what I did was, yes, I have a wee jig place and thing, but it was out by a millimeter every time I cut. So we'll just put the clamp on here to right to the T, and then we'll just cut that piece of wood where it's sitting there, so we can make sure it's identical on both sides. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, so Christopher and I have now selected our favourite sides of the board, because some of them, with them being fence boards, you'll get natural warping or wood or whatever, you know, bits of glue coming out. So pick your favourite. Now, we actually went for ones that have got wee bits of dug into them. Dug? Not a word. Not a word. Keep rolling. So, but what we want to do is we want to sand it. Now, you can decide whether you want to sand it at all. I'm only just taking the rough bits out, but I still want to leave it quite rustic. So I do. So we'll just sand the boards up, and then the jig that we were picking, we'll then drill the holes into them. So let's get sanded. Okay, so if you remember that wee jig that was set up, all I've done is clamped it to the side of the board. Just use your drill, follow the hole through, like so. Do the other side. Sorry, Chris, I'm going too fast there. Do the other side, but then remember, mirror image that, so you don't use up going that way. You actually use the back of it going up, if that makes sense. So you just do the opposite side of it, so you don't want them to be sitting too far out. Make sense again?
Mm-hmm.
Sense again. Now guys, as you know, with all natural wood, especially if it's rough cut timber, there's always going to be wee grooves and curves. So you can see this one here, there is a wee lip and a curve, and there's nothing you can really do about that unless you're going to spend a lot of money for professional furniture. So all I've done here is tuck 2 wee of my nails in, just to shimmy that up to the right height, and then we'll do the same thing again. Easily, because unless it's on the wood.
Mm-hmm.
So you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. It's fitting.
Oh, thanks for letting me know, Chris.
Do you record looking up into the bottle?
So guys, so what we're doing now is we're getting this the wood glue, as this is at the bottom of my tub. I want to make sure I get everything out, because everything's getting expensive now. Don't like wasting anything. Rubber mallet, got our piece of wood. We've put the glue down, took a wee bit of time, I just want to get it all out. So we just line up our dials, like so, and then we'll and we have one type board. So now we'll do the same to the other side, and then we'll put the big top on top. On top. Okay, so we've got the top board in. Nice and tight. Nice and tight. So what we'll do now, guys, is we'll clamp that together, let that set, and then we're going to insert the slate into it, and then we'll get onto the feet, and then we're done. So just like before, folks, we've set the jig up. So we've set this. I decided to change them to 14 inches rather than 12, because with me being closer to the ground and the rest of the family not, because I'm 5'9" and the son's 6'10". So we'll raise it a couple more inches there. So it's nice and simple. We'll just put this over to match that, and then we just cut it in the saw, and we'll do that a few times, all four, and then we'll curve the bottom of the foot to make it look that wee bit more appealing. So now what we've done, folks, is we have moved a bit of the leftover cut wood. We've changed it to 7.5 degree angle, which means when I put each of these in, we're going to get an offset to the bottom of the leg, and we'll turn it over, do the same on the other side, and then we'll do that on all the legs, and that'll give us a nice offset to the bottom of the feet. Excuse the background noise, guys. It's just got the fan going there to get any of the dust out. So here we go. We've got the frame set up solid. As you've seen, we done the feet there, so they're now ready. I wasn't too convinced as to what way to put the feet on, so we'll come back to that in a minute. But what we're going to do now is we're going to put a wee edging strip just along here with these wee bits of wood. And what we'll do is we'll line them up perfectly as we go on. Now you can use any sort of, I will use a nail gun here just for handiness and speed, but you can use wee tack nails, put them on, and that'll leave, excuse me for leaning over, that'll leave then a gap on this side where the slate will go in. Hope you can see that there. So what we're going to do, guys, as you can see, I've set it out here nice and flat. I've decided I'm going to get a 40 board here, thick piece of wood, the same as what we were using for the feet, okay? And the reason being that'll extra support the width of it to take the weight of the slate, and it'll give me something to grind the feet to as well, because the base of it's quite thin. So 2 40s of these, and then we'll show you how we just put them together. To be honest, they're probably just going to go together with good old-fashioned screws, and then I'll tidy them up with a couple of wee plugs to hide the screws. As this is an outdoor tool, I was getting overhung up about hiding on the screws. So what I've done, I've just put down the piece of wood, okay, and I've put a number of screws in it to really support that corner for where the legs go in. And then what we did, just to show you on the other side, we then got the 3 screws and then just screwed them home onto that batten there. So it is, we'll put another one here, 2 more on the far side, and then we'll flip it over and see how it looks. And hopefully, if our measurements are all done right, it should accept the slate. We hope. Well, there you go for another week at the Relaxing Wood Shop. How'd we get on, Christopher?
Did very well today.
It looks lovely, doesn't it? Really, really does. I love the way the slate just ever so slightly lifts above that to have a wee, you know, the balance area. and the way we just edge the bottom of the feet. So even though it's reclaimed wood or cheap wood, being able to make it just stand out that wee bit. Remember, it's only 12 inches off, so it's just that low, nice coffee table. And with having the slate, just means you can give it a wipe whenever you need to. So yeah. And do you know what we're doing next week? It's a Christmas special.
Very good.
Well, sorry, Fortnite. Christmas special. So don't forget to tune in for a Christmas special, and we look forward to seeing you next time
On the Rocks and Wood Shop.
Take care, guys.
Bye bye.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
What are we doing? Is it the Christmas one then?
Yeah.